Yes. So we said that for capital asset pricing model, what we had, we start with the two fund theorem. So we said that, okay, these are the optimization. I mean, once we try to get that optimization one, these are the three equations which we need to solve. So what was there? The first one was all of you. Do you know how we have written these three equations? Equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. All of you. All of you, do you remember? I mean, know how we have got this equation 1, 2, and 3? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what we need to find it out, if we see this one, what we need to get is the weight W. So the weight W would have a component W1, W2, and Wn. So there are n variables. Then we have a lambda1 scalar, lambda1 and lambda2. So this becomes two variables. So we had now n plus 2 variable altogether. From this one, we will get n equations. And from others 2 and 3, we will get 1 and 1 equations. So we will have total n plus 2 equations and n plus 2 variables, and we can easily get the equation solution. So what we are trying to say that for particular mu, equations 1 to 3 will give me with the value of weights, which is W, a column vector, then lambda 1 and lambda 2, such that the risk is minimum. This is what is the meaning here of these all three equations. Now what I'm saying that suppose I have a two set of solutions. Is this statement clear? Is this statement clear?
Yes, sir.
All of you, is this statement clear?
Yes, sir.
So now let's say that we have two set of solutions. And how we are going to get this one, we will talk in a moment, but first we try to understand that. Let's say that we have a two set of solution. What do you mean by is that we have a weight, this again W superscript 1 is basically, I'm trying to call it as a column vector again. So this is the first solution. So W1 will consist of W11 till W1n. Similarly, lambda 1 and lambda 2, this will be a scalar one. This is my first solution. And similarly, I have another vector W2 and then a set of scalar for lambda 1 and lambda 2. This would be my second solution. What I'm saying is, and let's say that corresponding to this, I have a return which is mu1, and I have another for the second solution, I have a return which is mu2. What I'm trying to say that if I take, let's say that these all are known. What I next is, if I need to find the minimum risk or in other words, trying to find out the weights for the return mu3. Right. Then the first thing I'm saying is if mu3 can be given as a linear combination of mu1 and mu2. So I'm going to get it as an alpha mu1 and 1 minus alpha mu2. It's not linear, it's affine combination basically. Then for minimum risk, this is my statement for minimum risk, the weight 3 would be alpha times weight 1 plus 1 minus alpha times weight 2. This is the statement which I need to prove. Are you getting this statement which I have made?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Please respond. Have you got what statement I am making? I am saying that if I have two solutions for mu1 and mu2, and I am saying that I need to find it out what should be the minimum risk, or we know that for minimum risk we try to find it out what will be the weights. So I'm saying that if mu3 can be given as a affine combination alpha mu1 plus 1 minus alpha mu2. So this alpha I need to find it out. So suppose alpha I know because mu1 mu2 is known and mu3 you know, for which you need to find it out what should be the risk. Then for minimum risk, the weight W3 can also be given as the same combination alpha W1 plus 1 minus alpha W2. Weight vector W1 and weight vector W2. Is the statement clear? We need to prove this one.
Yes, sir. Clear.
All of you, please raise your hand if the statement is clear. Right. So what we need to do, we have to say that if weight 3 and combination of alpha and 1 minus alpha, if it is being, if it is able to satisfy all these three equations, correct, then I have a minimum risk. Can I say this? Because this is if all the equations for a particular mu, if I get all the values of W lambda 1 and lambda 2, that would correspond to me for a minimum risk. So if I'm saying that if W3 is being able to satisfy all these three equations, which I have said, then will I not have a minimum risk corresponds to mu3? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Keep on raising your hand if you cannot answer. Is this whatever I have a statement I have made, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Right. So let's say that, let's prove this one. So we know that because this W1, lambda 1, lambda 2 for the first solution and corresponding to mu1 is the one set of solution which I have already have, and similarly I have second set of solution. Correct. So this means that for solving the first equation, what I can write directly is so this also should satisfy my equation 1, and this is also should satisfy my equation 1. So these are the equation 1 for solution 1 and solution 2. Correct. Let me multiply this with alpha and let me multiply this with 1 minus alpha. Correct. So Will not this be 0? If I just multiply the first equation for solution 1 with alpha and first equation for the solution 2 with 1 minus alpha and add that together, will I not be able to get this expression which I have written at the end? Just see.
Yes, sir.
All of you agree?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So this I am calling it as W3. So this can be written as W3 transpose C. This can be given as lambda 1 for the third solution, and this can be given as lambda 2 for the third solution, and this will become 0. So my first equation will a fine combination using alpha and 1 minus alpha. My first equation is for the optimization one is being satisfied. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now let's move back to the second solution. Correct? We have second equation. Right, this second equation from solution 1 and second equation from solution 2, again multiply with 1 alpha and 1 minus alpha scalar, then I can write it as yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right, this can be given as M transpose weight 3 and this is mu 3, which already we have stated that mu 3 would be alpha times mu1 and 1 minus alpha times mu 2. So my the second equation is also being satisfied. Correct? Please raise your hand if you are getting this. So now we come back to the third part, which is very easy. We have again, you can easily see that multiplying with alpha and 1 minus alpha is basically what I can derive is that's not very tough. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that boils down to a particular thing. If we have two solutions, right, then I can get anyone. What I mean, I have just written in a layman's language. It means that if you know the weight for the two optimal minimum risk portfolio, then for a particular return you can get using the linear combination. You don't need to solve all the equations once and again. Because of this statement, this is called two-fund theorem, because you need to know what would for a particular two returns, what are the weights for minimum risk. That's why this becomes two-fund theorem. So now next step would be how to get two solutions. Is it not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So for that one, let's take an example, very simple example, and we will take step by step and discuss about how we can actually get this one. All right. So let's start with the variance covariance matrix. And these are the entry. It's not M transpose, basically it's M. So this is the only two things which we need to know first of all, and we need to solve these three equations. The first one is so we start with the first extreme solution basically, and we say that okay, let me go with first one where lambda1 is equal to 0 and lambda2 is equal to 1. The second, we try to solve that one, which will be lambda1 will be equal to 1 and lambda2 will be equal to 0. So that I can actually get rid of one of those, lambda1 by putting 0 value. Right. So if I put lambda1 equal to 0 and lambda2 is equal to 1, in the first expression, what I get? W transpose C is equal to E transpose. Yes or no? Because lambda1 is equal to 0. Yes or no? Please respond. Please say
Yes, sir.
yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So if I take W1, W2, W3 here and then multiply with the C, what will be the expression? I'm just not looking at the mu and I'm not looking at the the third one. Correct? Because I have not put any mu at present. I'm just trying to solve the first equation. Can you tell me what would be the three equations to get the value of W1 and W2? Because E transpose means that all the entries are 1. What will be the equations? Can I write it like this? Took it here, right? 2W1 plus, if you want, we can rearrange this. Okay, sorry. Right, so if you see here, we are just multiplying because it's a variant one. 2W1 plus W2 is equal to 1. Next we are going with the W1 plus 2W2 plus W3 is equal to 1, and finally we are going with the W2 plus 2W3 is equal to 1. Are you getting this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
Right, so what is the solution here now for W1, W2 and W3? If I solve this one, which becomes my first solution, and it will be 0.5, weights would be 0 and 0.5. Put that one into the equations, it will satisfy. So my first set of weights are 0.5, 0 and 0.5. And correspondingly, if I try to calculate what would be my return, and let me call it as a W1. And what would be my return? So my return would be M transpose weights, which is W1, and it would come out to be 0.6. So this is the first solutions which I have already have got. It, what does this mean that if I would have taken that for the return 0.6, right, what would have been my weight? The weight of, for the minimum risk. So my weight would have been 0.5, 0 and 0.5. Similarly, you can calculate the risk also here. Right. This, for the first one, the risk would have been, put that one, all this C is known to you, W you have already calculated, you can get what would have been the value of the risk. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you, please raise your hand if you have got this. Right. Now we go back and try to solve the second equation, second part for the second one, where we are trying to find it out for where the lambda 1 is equal to 1 and lambda 2 is equal to 0. If I put that one into my first equation here, what simply I can write it as W transpose C is equal to M transpose, or C transpose weight is equal to M, taking the transpose. Correct? Can I write? Can I write or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if I know what is the C vector, I know what is the M vector, and weights W1, W2, W3 are the variables. So if I put that one in terms of the equations, what I need to solve is 2W1 plus W2 is equal to 0.4. It would have been the same one, but instead of E, now it is M on the right hand side. I'm extremely sorry. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So now what are the value of for the second set of solutions? Like the first component will be W1, second will be W2, and third would be W3. What would have been the solution for this one?
0, 0.4 and 0.
0.1, 0.2 and 0.3.
Yes.
All of you agree? All of
Yes,
you
sir.
agree? Now,
Yes, sir.
this is an infeasible solution.
Sir, 0, 0.4, 0.
Put that back now. 0.2, 0.2, 0.4. It is satisfying. 0.1, 0.4 and 0.3. So 0.8. Correct? This is 0.8, sorry. 0.4, 0.8 and 0.8. Is it correct now? Is it correct now? W1, W2, W3, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm saying that this is an infeasible solution. Can somebody tell me why this is an infeasible solution?
The weights don't add up to 1.
Correct. So the addition here, you have looked here, W1 plus W2 plus W3 coming out to be 1, but here it is not. Correct. So luckily, what assumption which I have taken as that this lambda 1 is equal to 0 and lambda 2 is equal to 1 is a feasible solution. This comes out to be right one. But the second thing I have taken as lambda 1 is equal to 1 and lambda 2 is equal to 0 is a feasible solution. It's not. This is not a feasible solution for my three equations. So what I need to do, I just don't need to think too much, but rather what I will do, I will normalize it. And normalizing so that the sum would become 1. That's all. This means that my weight would be, rather than 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, it would be 1 by 6, 2 by 6 and 3 by 6. You just have to normalize this one. And correspondingly, there would be a different value of lambda 1 and lambda 2 because we are not bothered about lambda 1 and lambda 2. Using the two-point theorem, we have already shown that one. We just need to find it out what would have been the weights for two solution and what would have been their return, so that I can actually calculate for a particular return what would have been the minimum risk. So what I can infer from here that this is not an infeasible solution. Lambda 1 is equal to 1 and lambda 2 is equal to 0. What we have done is we have just normalized it so that this becomes solution for a different value of lambda 1 and lambda 2. Right? We don't need to find it out. It won't be that lambda 1 is equal to 1 and lambda 2 is equal to 0. There would have been a different value. If you want, you can calculate that one. What I needed is that this is the weight. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So for this particular weight, if I try to calculate what would have been my return, right? It's the same way. And this would be around 0.733. Is it okay? Is it correct? Now let's say that, sorry. Give me a moment, please. Can you see the OneNote again?
Yes, sir.
So now what? Suppose we already have two solutions. Do we have two solutions for mu1, mu2, and their corresponding weights for a risk? Yes or no? We already got. How many of you agree that we already have this solution? So now if I try, suppose that for try to find it out now using the theorem, if we need to find it out what should be the minimum risk for, I'm calling it as a mu3, which is equal to 0.334. Let's say that. In other way, if I know what would be the weight W3, I can actually calculate what would have been the minimum risk, because that becomes using the putting W3 instead of W here in the variance equation, and that will give me the minimum risk. All of you agree?
Yes, sir.
So right,
Yes, sir.
so first we need to find it out what will be the value of alpha. It means that I just need to find it out mu3 is a fine combination of mu1 and mu2. So mu3 would become alpha times, what is the value of mu1 we have got from the first solution? It's 0.6, I guess, correct? Sorry. What will be the value of alpha here? Please tell me. Roughly around. Ashish,
Yes, sir.
what is the value of alpha?
1 minute, sir. I'll calculate.
Soumyadeep,
Yes, sir. Doing.
anybody else? Akshat, Anvesha,
Yes, sir.
Ankit. Because we have almost done. We have finished with the two-fund theorem, and it's not very. What is the value of alpha now? I'm putting the rate mark because I have not calculated. If any no, somebody has done the wrongly, and I'm writing the wrong one, you can check back and you can tell me that this is not the alpha value. So I'm writing in a red one. What will be the value of alpha? Akshat?
3.
3.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Alpha is coming out to be 3.
Very good. So now the weight would be what? Alpha times weight 1 plus 1 minus alpha times weight 2. So for the weight 1 we have already calculated. Alpha is 3 times 0.5, 0.5 plus 1 minus alpha becomes minus 2 times 1 by 6, 2 by 6 and 3 by 6. What would be the final value here? So instead of 0.50, 1.5, you can take it as 1 by 2 so that I can write not in the decimal but.
The 1.17 minus 0.66.
1.17, it comes out to be 7 by 6 minus 0.66 is 2 by 3.
And sir, half minus 1. So, sorry, yes, half.
So using this weight W3, you can calculate minimum risk. What will be the value of the minimum risk? Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Anybody having any doubt, because we have finished with the two-fund theorem, look at the from the beginning till end and please ask me if you have any doubt.
Sir, is it possible to explain briefly, like till now, what we have done, just as a summary type?
Yes. Just all of you, please, as per his request. But I said that these are the 3 equations. Using the optimization model for the for n risky assets. These are the 3 equations. So any value of particular weights lambda 1 and lambda 2, if these are satisfying these 3 equations for a particular value of mu, then I'll say that for that particular value of mu, the weights would correspond to the minimum risk. Please keep on saying yes, sir, so that I can move ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So this weight has n components, W1, W2, Wn corresponds to each of this asset, and lambda1 and lambda2 are the two variables. So we have n plus 2 variables. From the first one, we will get n equations, and from the other two, because that's a scalar one, we will get two separate 1 and 1 equations. So we'll have n plus 2 variables and n plus 2 equations to solve them. Rather than solving this one, what I'm saying is, okay, one more statement I'm making is that for a particular value of mu, if I being able to get the value of W, lambda1 and lambda2, so that weight W will corresponds to the minimum risk. This comes out to be giving me that suppose I have a two solutions, weight 1, lambda1, lambda2 for the first solution, weight lambda1 and lambda2 for the second solution. And correspondingly, if I have a return mu1 and mu2, then I'm saying that if I need to find the minimum risk for a particular return mu3, what I need to do is I need to look at the combination mu3, how mu3 is related with the mu1 and mu2. So this becomes an affine combination using of mu1 and mu2. Then this alpha value, if I know, because mu1 is known to you, mu2 is also known to you because these two solutions you know, and using this combination of alpha and 1 minus alpha, and you know what is the value of mu3 for which you are looking for the minimum risk. So you can get the value of alpha 1. Once you know the value of alpha, then for the minimum risk, this is the statement which I am making. For minimum risk for a given return mu3, the weight W3 would be having the same combination, alpha times weight 1 plus 1 minus alpha times weight 2. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then I try to prove this one because this is, how to prove that one. So sorry. So this is the first one which we are trying to get that where we have written. I think it has not showing here. So this is the first equation for the solution 1. This is the first equation for the solution 2. What we have done is we have multiplied with alpha and 1 minus alpha, and we saw that we were able to prove that these are the weight combination which is being satisfying my equation 1. So the first equation for weight 3 is being satisfied. Similarly, I tried to multiply the second equation for the solution 1 and solution 2 with the combination of alpha and 1 minus alpha, and I say that this is also satisfying my second equation. And finally, because its right hand side are all 1, so the third equation is also being satisfied using the combination. So this means that if I have a two particular solution, then I can actually get for a particular return what would have been the minimum risk. Is it clear, Akshat?
Yes, sir.
You can see that how those proof has been done. So I took an example and I say that okay, these are the expression, these are the C and M value, variance and covariance and return value, and I try to find it out two different extreme points. So I take that lambda1 is equal to 0 and lambda2 is equal to 1 for getting the first solution, because I need to generate two solutions, and for the second one I took lambda1 is equal to 1 and lambda2 is equal to 0. Luckily, the first one I tried to put that back, and my expressions become W transpose C is equal to E transpose, or you can simply write this as C transpose weight is equal to E. So this is the expression which we have got. Correct. Luckily, the weights here are all 1. Sum is equal to 1, 0.5, 0.5. So I say that okay, this is a feasible solution, and I tried that one, and I get the value of mu1. So for if I would have been tried to find it out for a particular, what would be the minimum risk for a return 0.6, this would have been the weight. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So now I can also, once I know that, I can also calculate what would have been the risk. I go and try to find it out for the other one, where lambda 1 I have taken as a 1 and lambda 2 I have taken as a 0. So right hand side, instead of E, now at this change with M. I tried to solve that one and I found that this is an infeasible solution because the sum of the weights are not equal to 1. Correct. It means that lambda 1 is equal to 1 and lambda 2 is equal to 0 is not a feasible solution for the data for which we are trying to get the two.
Yes.
So what I did is I normalized that one. Okay, when I'm normalizing this one, I get the value 1 by 6, 2 by 6 and 3 by 6. How I have done it, do I need to explain? Because what I did is I sum all together 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So it will become 0.6 and I have divided from each component 0.6. So 1.1 by 0.6, it becomes 1 by 6. 0.2 by 0.6, it becomes 2 by 6. And similarly 3 by 6. But this, remember that this is not the solution for lambda 1 is equal to 0. Lambda 1 is equal to 1 and lambda 2 is equal to 0. For that, you would have a separate value of lambda 1 and lambda 2. And because we are not,
we will
actually,
backtrack. We will backtrack basically, like.
We actually, for now, we don't need lambda 1 and lambda 2 value. Right? Mu 2, correspondingly, I got this is the amount. So I'm saying that what should have been the minimum risk for a return mu 3. So I try to get mu 3 as, using the same expression and get the value of alpha. Once I know the value of alpha, I will do the same combination and get the value of weight 3. And this would give me the minimum return, weights for the minimum risk. So once you know the weights, you can actually calculate what would have been the risk or the variance. This is what we have done in today's class.
Sir, got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else having any question? Minu Kumari, Abhay Shukla. Please raise your hand which once you have got it. Right, so if I look at this one as a mu sigma plane, I'm just trying to draw with the hand. This is the, let's say that Markovich efficient frontier. What I'm trying to say that suppose we have got two solutions, which is mu1, correct, and corresponds to this is mu sigma plane. If I have mu2, this is again the second solution. For any mu3, I just try to find it out what is the combination here, correct, and that alpha combination is giving me what should have been the return, what should have been the minimum risk for a particular return mu3. This is what exactly we are trying to do. I hope this is now very clear to you. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Now this makes you to move on to the next part. So before I move, I'm just trying to explain graphically what we are going to do next. Suppose we have a Markovich efficient frontier, which is something like this. I draw it completely, let's say that, but what we are interested in the first part, which is the efficient. So I have darked it. Correct. Now this is regarding to, we have already said, this is all about the risky assets. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
If I add one riskless asset, will it not lie on a y-axis? Because the sigma would be 0. If I add a riskless asset, where I can actually say that, show that one onto the xy in this mu sigma plane, on the y-axis, because sigma
Yes,
would be 0 for the riskless one. Is it clear, Soumyadeep?
Yes, sir.
So I have just put it here, correct? So this corresponds to a riskless asset. Now I have combination of risky and riskless one. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So now if I take any, basically sigma 1 and mu 1, let's say that, because x, and then for the any return, this would be the line. Correct. Suppose this is corresponds to a particular weight, and weight can be given as, let's say, W1. This W1 is again a column vector which will have n components. So if I multiply this with alpha and if I multiply this with 1 minus alpha, this would be the return line. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you agree?
Yes,
Please
sir.
raise your
Yes,
hand
sir.
if you agree what we are trying to say. Ashish, is it clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Right. So now, okay. So if because let's say that I'm choosing n risky assets and one riskless asset, and I can draw a line and say that this would be my return line. Correct, depending upon what are the different return and risk which are trying to find it out. Now this line could also be like this also if I choose this point. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Right. So now what we are trying to do, can you tell me which line such these lines would give me the highest possible return for a particular risk if I combine both risky and riskless? If you do not agree, that line has to be tangent.
Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
line
sir.
has to be tangent for a if I move, let's say that if I move something like this is an above the tangent, then that would be an infeasible solution.
Yes, sir.
So that line has to be a tangent one. Correct?
Yes.
Right. So this point is called the market portfolio, where this tangent point touches, and this is this and this line is called the capital market capital line. So tomorrow we will see that. Now what we are doing is we will try to find it out what would have been the slope. Correct? Right? And try to find it out. If I I try to maximize the slope given that I have a feasible solution. Correct? So for if I try to draw any slope using any of this portfolio here and a riskless one, my tangent should have been the maximum one along with the feasibility to get this tangent line.
Right, sir.
Yes.
All right. So tomorrow we will try to say that how we are maximizing in the angle, or the theta or tan theta, whatever you can call it as. And then we will try to get that one a market portfolio. It means that I just need to find out one of those portfolio, correct, which is lying on all the risky weights corresponds to all the risky assets. And if I have one riskless one, I can get that one because the linear combination for a particular return, this would be the risk. For a particular return, this would have been the risk, because we have now included one riskless one. We just need to find it out one portfolio in all risky one, and that is called the market portfolio, and that's why it is also called one fund theorem. So if I add one riskless one in our portfolio, riskless asset in our portfolio, I convert, from the two fund theorem, I will move on to the one fund theorem. Is the initial concept clear to you? Because now tomorrow we just have to put those equations where I can get the value of tan theta or angle theta, and we have to maximize that, and that rest all would be the same procedure what we have done it in the previous class. Is it clear what I have taught today?
Yes, sir.